Welcome to a look in the future, where we ask, what would you do if you can go in the future and ask yourself questions? How would you grow your firm? How would you do things the right way? How would you transition into advisory services? Luckily, we can just ask the time traveler himself, Paul Latham, and learn the knowledge we need at our firms today to evolve in advisory services and become the most relevant advisor to our clients, because that's what it's all about. And we're very lucky because Paul brings three amazing, remarkable things with him. Number one, he's built a successful accounting practice in the UK. So he understands accountants. In fact, he built his firm into an advisory powerhouse, which sold for $45 million in 2001. Number two, he's taken the business public, building it to a market value in excess of $400 million. So he really understands what business owners need and value and what we as accountants need to provide to them. And finally, as I said, number three, we don't need to invent time travel or the flux capacitor. We can just ask Paul and learn from the transition he made 20 years ago in the UK into providing business advisory services, as that trend is here today in the US, and we all need to work on it more inside our firms. I'm Garrett Wagner, your Entrepreneurial CPA Channel host, and I'm super pumped today to be joined by the legendary Paul Latham of Hayden Rock Solutions, because we're back, part two, talking about boxes of advisory services. Paul, last time we dove all into how to sell advisory services and how to really think about the vision and purpose of the firm and how to align that with those services and build that. Coca-Cola, we use that reference, that analogy, Coca-Cola, all the time. As we promised our viewers, we're going to be back today talking about how do we deliver that? How do we move beyond just the sell-in, the vision of it? How do we deliver this amazing value to our clients?
Yep. Hi, Garrett. As you say, we use that Coca-Cola analogy, and it was all about helping the CPA sell those advisory services previously. Let's box the product. Let's make that very intangible service easy to visualize so that we can deliver it better, so that it's solid and repeatable and consistent and becomes like a production line with these Coca-Cola bottles flying off the production line, but just insert the business advisory product. And so obviously we actually have what I'd call a bit of a technical innovation here, because we've broken this into two parts. I obviously had the opportunity to scribble some notes down, and I'm actually going to try and share the screen with you, Garrett. Let me just bring that up. Can you see my screen?
Perfect. I can see it. Technical first on the Entrepreneurial CPA Channel. Some screen sharing here. We're getting fancy.
Okay, very good. There we go. So what I've done to illustrate the point is actually use the Hayden Rock Client Service Framework. The Hayden Rock Client Service Framework is the framework or the process or the delivery process that we provide CPAs. And I always call it the A to G. So I'm just going to talk you through the A to G and then pull that together in terms of how that begins to resemble a Coca-Cola shaped bottle. So what we teach CPAs in terms of their delivery is, you always need to start from a client perspective with the value promise. What's your, to use a phrase, elevator pitch? What is it that you're going to say? And I gave you the Latham's example last time and said, our promise to you is we're going to help you clarify direction so you know where you're going, and we're going to help you maximize your business potential. And that sounds pretty good as an elevator pitch. But step B, probably no one is going to just believe that just because you say it. So typically in any sort of customer service framework, you need demonstrators. And so in our process, that's step B. And essentially what you're saying to the client is, but that's what we do. But let me show you our process. Let me talk you through what happens when you become a client at XYZ CPA. And so that then takes us to the delivery process. So step C, and you see it there, is, well, we need to establish customer needs. You see, because proactivity is a big thing that we should be trying to sell. And when I was at Latham's, I always used to say to the clients, look, first of all, question one, would you rather I be reactive or would you rather I be proactive? And I think 99.9 times out of 100, they said, I'd rather you were proactive. And I said, well, there's two ways we can be proactive. I can just guess and try and sell you stuff, that I think you might need. And to be honest, it's a toss-up who's going to get bored first. Either you're going to get bored of me trying to sell to you, or I'll just get bored of trying to sell random stuff to you. What would be better is to adopt the second style of proactivity, where I really understand what you want, and then I can proactively help you to fulfill that. So step C is, let's establish the customer needs. And we do that at Hayden Rock in a couple of ways. If it's a business, we use something called the Biz Diagnostic, and we can show the client. If it's more to do with personal wealth planning services, we use something called the CIQ diagnostic. But I'm going to assume for the minute here that we're going down the business route. So step C, we'll do a Biz Diagnostic. And then the next thing we're going to do is step D. We're going to start by clarifying direction, because it's just like going on a journey. If you were to ask me the question, Gareth, so how long is it going to take me to get there? I'm going to say, where? Where do you want me? Where are you talking about? Whereas if you said, how long will it take me to get to San Diego? I've got half a chance of being able to answer that question. So you always start by, where are we trying to get to? What's your direction? And you'll see there, here's our first box of product. We have a product called a vision workshop. And one of the deliverables of a vision workshop is a one-page plan that essentially is beginning to live up to that value proposition of direction and beginning to point the team in the right direction. We then follow up step D with step E. We have regular meetings. How many meetings would you like? Essentially what we do in those meetings is two things. We help the client to build action plans. Which type of plan do you need? Do you need an efficiency plan? 7 ways to grow a business. There's a box of product. Do you need 4 ways to grow a business plan? There's a box of product. Do you need something to help the culture of your team become more engaged? There's a box of product. But either way, we are offering the client boxes of discrete plans. And you probably also need what I would call a box of accountability, because you know as well as I do that just because you know where you're going and just because you have a plan to get there doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to make it. And you probably need somebody to help you on the way, to hold you accountable and drive you to do the stuff. Would you like a box of accountability? Our boxes of accountability come in, let's say, 3 sizes. You can have a quarterly box of accountability, or you can have a bi-monthly box of accountability, or you can have a monthly box of accountability. They're 3 different prices. What would you like? And it becomes you can see that it's much easier to sell them if we've defined it. And if we know that client is having a monthly box of accountability, we offer a slightly different service than if they have a quarterly box of accountability. And then keeping to loop the process, step F is what we call the annual review. So we're always going to have an annual review with you. At the end of every year, we're going to review, first of all, look backwards. What did we do last year? What did we achieve against the plan? And the reason, by the way, why we do that is mainly to remind the client of what a good job we've done, because most clients have the memory of a goldfish. And if you don't remind them, they'll probably forget. And you want to keep at the top of their mind that we've done a really good job for them. But so we build into the process a looking back, so we can boast essentially to the client, look at the good job we've done for you. Now let's look forward. What are we going to do next year? And so the process becomes a loop. And then finally, step G in this process, is the client happy? Score us out of 10 or score us out of 5 on how happy you are. And essentially, have we lived up to that value promise? We promised you that we were going to clarify direction and help you grow your business. How good a job are we at doing that? And that provides a loop for the team. And remember, we talked about establishing a purpose for the team. So if the team have understood that purpose, our job is to clarify direction, maximize potential. We're, by the way, going to be asking the client whether we've lived up to it, and just perhaps your bonus is based on how happy they are. That maybe makes it feel like a job worth doing. And so this all becomes like what I call loops in the process. And essentially what happens there with that A, B, C, D, E, F, G is that you've created an outline shape for your delivery service that's beginning to create a solid brand delivery. It's because we've defined what we do with clients. It's packaged in lots of little boxes. It's consistent. Here's what you get. It's shaped just like a Coca-Cola shaped bottle. And as they used to say on TV, here's one I prepared earlier. And so on the screen there, I'm putting the Coca-Cola, or the equivalent of a Coca-Cola shaped bottle, which I'm hoping you can see. And And so right at the top there, we start with A, the value promise. We move to B, which is so what we're always going to do is give the client the value promise. We're always going to demonstrate the process to differentiate us from the competition. We're going to go into diagnostic in terms of the needs. We're going to go into D, which is direction, which is in terms of our 3 ingredients of success, the vision. That takes us to E, which is a meeting plan. And we do 2 things there, plans and sustained desire through accountability. So you can see there in the green, it's the 3 ingredients of success is built in to this delivery, vision, plan, and desire. And then F is the annual review where we look backwards and then what's happening next year. And G, is the client delighted? Did we live up to that value promise in A? And you can begin to see there how that client service framework, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, begins to resemble a Coca-Cola shaped bottle. And what we're suddenly offering is a much more tangible advisory service. And you can hopefully see by looking at that, how much easier that would be to sell just in the first place, and how much easier it would be to price, and how much easier it would be to establish with the team what they've got to do. And suddenly we've got a box of products that makes some sense and is much more solid and consistent. I hope that makes sense, Gareth.
Yeah, I mean, once again, between part 1 and part 2, we're really kind of pulling this all together to say, okay, as a firm, here's what you need to do to deliver these advisory services in this box of products, which is very similar to how you kind of point on the basic framework that we've always done in the attest and tax work. We take it to the next level. We talked about it's not selling the same thing. You have a much more formal, much more longer selling process. If you can have that value promise, you can demonstrate you have a diagnostic tool which keeps it consistent. You work in the vision, plan, desire, gets the clients excited. They see real consulting, proactive value there. Review, make sure the client's happy, and then you can kind of start repeating. You have a solidified process, and I see the word intangible there, and we've talked about that before. How do you solidify these intangibles?
Yes.
Repeat business advisor services.
Exactly. I mean, just look. Just imagine you were coming to me and I hadn't done the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I just was rabbiting on, to use an English expression, about business advisory. It's so intangible and ephemeral as a concept that I don't think the client would understand what they're getting. They can't visualize it. They can't see it. It's just words. But by putting it into that shape, now I get it. Here's what you're promising me. Here's how you do it. Here's how I help you. Now we're moving into the value promise, clarifying direction, maximizing potential, making sure you're happy, and so on. Suddenly, it's a defined shape. It's a box of service that the client can see and understand and will buy. And they'll buy it because that's what we say, and we deliver it because we've defined it, and they're aligned.
Well said. Perfect insight, Paul. And that was some technological innovation on the CPA channel here. And so with that, Paul, we're out of time. So it's time to kind of wrap things up. I hope everybody watching part 1 and part 2 learned something today as we went and had some better insight into how to deliver advisory services. And if you want to see how ready you are to deliver advisory services after listening to us talk about building this box, and you want to understand more what the Biz Survey is and Vision, Plan, Desire, we encourage you to take the Biz Survey. There's a link below. Get a free objective assessment of how you are and begin to see what this really looks like in practice. There's a special offer for watching the show. We're going to provide you the test for free as long as a quick follow-up meeting to review the results and see where you stand. As I said, there's a link below. I highly encourage you to spend some time and take the test. As always, don't forget, click to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you as always for watching. And we challenge you every day to take time to invest in yourself and change the world.